cold ones where it's got the beads of cool, delightful moisture all over the can. We'll crack that open in a second, but before we crack the can open, I do just need to make sure that we've gone live on YouTube as well. Hello to those of you who've already appeared on YouNow, by the way, but we'll just double check that the YouTube crowd are here too. It does look like we've made it over, which is good. So, as ever, we'll kick things off with everyone's favourite message, where I remind those of you who are watching over on YouTube that if you want to get involved in the chat, the only way to get involved in the chat is to come over here onto YouNow. The link to YouNow is down in the description. It's younow.com/Lelujo. And, yeah, then we'll be able to get a nice little Q&A going. And I like a Sunday evening Q&A. So if we could get as many of you as possible over from YouTube onto YouNow, that would be awesome. But we're going to do the same rules as normal, but without having a cup of coffee. It's going to be a can of Coke. So you've got the time it takes me to consume this can of Coke to ask as many questions as you can ask. I'm not just going to down it, obviously. I'm not a monster. So here we go. Oh, that's lovely. That's much more appropriate in this warm weather than a cup of coffee is. So, yeah, Q&A style. We're probably going to be on for about half an hour or so. That's our usual time for these YouNow Q&As. So feel free to fire some questions at me. I warn you all, my back is still sore. I am still taking the cocodamol that I was taking on Friday when I was a little bit iffy. I was a little bit woo. Because I'm not used to taking painkillers or anything like that, and they're quite strong ones. And yeah, my head still feels a little bit woo. But I'm fine. Do I believe in time travel? No. Because if there was time travel, I presume someone would have already travelled here and told us about it. Jake just fell up the stairs. That's probably not so good. Prediction to win the World Cup. I'm no longer making predictions about the World Cup because every team that I predict is going to win it gets knocked out. And my next prediction will be one that I would quite like to win it. But I'm not going to talk about it. Neve found me through fathering autism. Excellent. How many Funko Pops do I have? 150-ish. Why Diet Coke? Because it's a hot day and Diet Coke is delicious. What's Andy doing? As always, 8 o'clock in the evening, Andy is having his bath. Am I going to Birmingham Comic Con? Maybe. We talked about this a little bit the other night. I'm trying to cut down on my Comic Cons as they get replaced with more YouTube-y type events. So with Summer in the City and VidCon coming up this year and early next year, Birmingham Comic Con might be one that we drop down to doing just once a year. And as we've already done it once this year, we perhaps don't need to do it again. We'll see though. Have I ever considered making Dave a certified service and emotional support dog for Andy? That was the reason we got him originally, but he's too dopey. Andy never really took to him, so we never went down that route. That was the original reason that we decided to get a dog, because we were told it would be good for Andy. How's everything at the hospital? Still improving. Anna's back, and everything's improving. Have we taken Andy to Lincoln Cathedral? We haven't taken Andy. We've been to Lincoln Cathedral. Me and Anna went to Lincoln for a couple of days last year. Yeah, I think it was while we were vlogging. We went there last year for a couple of days and stayed in a hotel that looked right out at Lincoln Cathedral, and did say then that Andy would probably like it at some point. But generally we take him to places that he's asked to go to, because otherwise it causes arguments and stuff, because he doesn't want to go to places he hasn't asked to go to, even if it's somewhere that he'll really enjoy. Like you saw when we went to London on the way back from Legoland in the vlog. London's somewhere that he really likes. He watches a lot of London stuff on YouTube. He talks about London a lot, but because it's not his idea to go there, he won't go there. No, I've not run out of coffee. It's just a hot day, so I'm having Diet Coke. My thoughts on the World Cup are that there's going to be at least one pretty poor team in the final, which is exciting because England are in that number. Has Andy ever been abroad? No. I don't know that it'd be impossible. Certainly, based on what we've seen this week, now we've seen that he can stay in a hotel. I certainly don't think it would be impossible. It might be challenging, and it's something we need to work up to, but we have a plan, and we were talking about the plan on the YouNow stream on Friday night, the secret surprise stream that we did. Just a reminder for those of you on YouTube, again, I can see there's a few people who've turned up on YouTube again. If you want to get involved in the chat, if you want to see what me to see what you're commenting, you need to come over to YouNow. I can only see the chat. I can only see the comments over on YouNow. So if you want a response from me, if you're asking a question, and if you just want to get involved in the conversation that we've got going on over here, then you need to come over to YouNow. It's younow.com/Lujo, or the link is down in the description. Does Andy find benefit in doing therapy of any kind? No, we don't. There's not really any. Well, there is no therapy that he gets involved in, really. What do I think about Instagram TV? I have a half-finished Instagram TV video. I have put a couple of videos on there that aren't like my official first video, but last Monday I was doing a behind-the-scenes vlog. And so we have half a vlog recorded from last Monday that just got binned when we had to run over to Nottingham, and all like 3/4 recorded behind the scenes video of that vlog that was going to go up on Instagram TV as like a, well, here you go, this is what a behind the scenes vlog video will look like, do you want more of this stuff? But we had to abandon both of those plans when we had to rush over to Nottingham. So I will hopefully do something with Instagram TV this week, but I like it. I think it's pretty cool. And any excuse to get my Instagram followers up. Kev likes getting Instagram followers. Can I play Zelda on Switch on Twitch? I could if I had Zelda, but I don't, so I won't. And I wouldn't play a game like that on Twitch anyway, because it would be too difficult to interact with the chat properly. Have we ever had Andy in ABA therapy? We haven't, and we wouldn't. I don't know where you're from, Melissa, but it's kind of considered child abuse by a lot of people in this country. I know it's something that's widely done in America, but I think if we told our social worker that we were doing ABA therapy, her first question would be, how? You shouldn't be able to do that. And the second one would be, don't do that. That's not something you're allowed to do. So we have had the conversation with the social worker, and she's given us quite a long explanation as to why it's something that's actively discouraged in this country. But again, I mean, it works for some people, and some people absolutely hate it. So it's just different people in different parts of the world working with different theories. I guess no one really knows for sure. Do I now see why Okada is so popular after yesterday? Not really, Rob. All he did was lie on the floor. I was more impressed with most of the rest of the card. Best person you've met as a result of being a YouTuber? I don't know. Anyone and everyone I've ever met as a result of doing it. They've all been cool. What will you do if Andy had I don't know what that question means. What would I do if Andy had family? Andy does have family. I'm confused. Would Andy enjoy Crazy Golf? He might do. It's not something that he's ever done, I don't think, but he might well enjoy it. Who knows? Can I move the mic closer? I can, but then you're more likely to hear me sniffing. How is my volume to everybody else? Am I quiet, or does Pretty M just need to turn up their volume a little bit? How did I get into YouTube? I just started making Football Manager videos, and it went from there. Is there an age you and Anna hope Andy to live a fairly independent life by? No, we don't have any. We don't have any ages in mind. We just hope it happens at some point when he's ready. Really, our only hope for him is that he progresses at a rate that's comfortable to him. He's happy doing it, and he is as independent as he's capable of being at each stage of his development. So if that means he's still living with us when he's 25, then he's still living with us when he's 25. If that means he moves out when he's 18, he can move out when he's 18. It really comes down to what services and provisions are available for him, what next steps there are, which we haven't really started exploring yet, and what he's ready for and what he'd be happy doing. Has Andy ever had any harmful or negative obsessions? Not badly harmful. I mean, I guess there's a few things like he has pica as well as his autism, so he eats things that are inappropriate to eat. So I guess that's a thing. Should you rather have £1 million right now or £1,000 a week for the rest of your life? I'd rather have £1 million right now, because I could make that into many more millions, whereas £1,000 a week is, it is more than I was earning when I was a teacher, but not massively more. So it's £1,000 a week is not really life-changing money, whereas £1 million in one go is, because obviously then I could continue to work as well. Well, I guess it'd be £1,000 a week on top of what I already earn. So either is fine. If you're offering, I'll take either. Yes, Anna's mum is improving. She'll still be in hospital for a few weeks, but the doctors are now talking in terms of her getting better rather than the terms they were talking in earlier in the week. So that's all good stuff. By Andy having a family, if he ended up having a wife and kids, that question just disappeared. Where did it go? You and Anna become grandparents. That if he was in a position to be able to do that, that would be awesome. What would I like to happen? I don't know what you mean. Is that a second part to another question? How would you want someone to approach you as a fan? Just make sure it's not at my front door and just say hello. Love your work, Kev. Seriously, think you're doing a great job to raise awareness for autism. Stumbled across you about a month ago. Oh, thank you, Sander. What's the motivation to filming an autistic child? I think that feels like quite a loaded question. Maybe rethink the question and ask it, because I don't know if I'm just being Mr. Sensitive because my back's poorly, but I feel like you're asking that in a way that suggests you don't think I should, and I would love to know your thoughts about why you think that. My point of view is that I'm filming my family, and Andy's part of my family. I'm not filming an autistic child. I'm filming all the members of my family. Me and Anna married. We're not. We're engaged. But we've been engaged for years, like 5 years. Everyone is good. Thank you, Joe. Did you ever teach a student with a stutter? Was it hard for you? I stutter and teachers tell me to spit it out. I don't remember ever having a student with a stutter. I might have done. I don't remember. Can't imagine if it was someone who actually had a stutter, like a properly diagnosed stutter. I can't imagine. Certainly me as a teacher would never have said spit it out or anything as insensitive as that. But I can only assume that the teachers who are saying that are just not thinking before they act. Any tips for streaming on YouNow? Just start doing it and see if you enjoy it, and go for it. It's fun. I like having a conversation with everybody. It's awesome. That's why I've started doing it so often. Any advice for someone with autism trying to learn to drive? I'm not the person to help anyone with learning to drive. I took my driving test 5 times. It took me 3 years to learn to drive, so I'm really not the person to give tips about the tips about learning to drive. No, I'm just interested, mate. Didn't mean to offend. In that, I assume you're the person who asked before about filming Andy. I forget who it actually was, but I film Andy because I started a daily vlog, and Andy's part of my family, so he gets filmed. And then, as with anything that people put on YouTube, you kind of start to tailor your content towards what your audience are most interested in. So if anyone was mad enough to go back and watch the entirety of the daily vlog from the start, it started on the 1st of January 2017, so we've been going a year and a half now. So if anyone was to watch it through from the start, you probably wouldn't see Andy at all for the first 4 to 6 weeks. You wouldn't hear his name mentioned for the first 3 or 4 months. None of the kids' names were mentioned for the first 3 or 4 months. And we didn't really start focusing in on autism as a topic until the summertime, I guess. It took a long time for the content to kind of tailor towards what people were enjoying, but we've always listened to the audience. We always get involved in the comments every day. We used to reply to every comment. I still try and thumbs up every comment that I see, but there's so many of them now, it's hard to get through them all. But I still spend a good couple of hours a day in the comments on YouTube, interacting with people, or at the very least reading what people are saying. I stream, I have my social media, so I try and tailor the content to what people want to watch. And obviously, you can also see from the amount of views something gets, or the amount of likes that it gets, or the audience retention rate that you get on a video, that if it's something someone really enjoys, then that's the kind of content that you want to be able to make. When is my autism talk coming out in full? When the people from the autism show send me the audio. I asked for it, I haven't had it yet, so as soon as they send me the audio, then I'll get it up. I've got the video ready to go. I have autism, never thought of playing Football Manager or learning to drive, but watching your videos you've inspired me to do both. That is awesome. Did you ever have a moment as a teacher where you just thought, I want to pack it in? No. No, I really enjoyed teaching. So, no. Like I've said before, if I ever had to go back to having a real job again, I'd go back to teaching. Apparently we're trending, which is awesome. Thank you to everybody who's turned up and helped us trend in. Apart from when the whole Andy thing kicked off. Yeah, I guess we had the week where he was off school, which, yeah, we did that. That was, what, February? What's my favourite place to go in the UK? London. With the inevitable departure of Madison, and I assume you mean Marriott, how do you reckon Posh will do next year? Hopefully pretty badly, so Steve Evans gets sacked. That's that's my thoughts on that. I've said before, and I think I still probably mean it, I would see Posh relegated if it meant that we got rid of Steve Evans and who's never had any further association with my football club. People on YouTube, if you want to get involved in the chat, make sure you come on over to YouNow. It's younow.com/Lalujo. The link is down in the description. If you want me to see your questions that you're asking, you have to ask them over on YouNow. I don't see anything that anyone posts over on YouTube. Have I ever smoked, or do I know anyone who smokes? I did used to smoke. I don't anymore. I have a diagnosed speech impediment and everyone takes the mick out of me. Haven't been to school for 3 months. I mean, that's not something that the school should be allowing to happen. And I know it's far from ideal sometimes, and sometimes schools don't do everything they could, but it's something the school should be able to fix, really. My oldest son is going for his teaching degree. What age do I prefer to teach? I mean, my teaching qualification was for 14 to 19-year-olds. I taught everyone from 11 up to 19, but I always preferred the older groups, the older age groups. My favourite age group to teach were like the sixth formers, the 16, 17, 18-year-olds. Okay, your videos popped up in my recommendations 3 or 4 months ago and I absolutely love your videos. That is awesome. How's the healthy eating / dieting going? I mean, it's not been going great this week because spending 3 days, well, 2.5, 3 days over in Nottingham, 2 nights trapped in a hotel. It wasn't quite that dramatic, but then the weekend's been a bit disrupted as well with all of that stuff. It's not been great. We had Deliveroo a couple of times when we were over in Nottingham. We start again properly tomorrow. It's been a bit of a disaster, but I think we've had a good excuse. Ben, I saw the email. I haven't read it yet. It kind of all came through at the wrong time. I'll look into it, though. How do I think the education system should be changed? I could talk about that for hours, and this probably isn't the place to talk about it. I do think there's been far too much, and I know there's probably a lot of young people watching who won't like this as an answer, but I think as someone who, in the last 20 years, I've been a student, I've been a teacher, and I've been a parent of kids at school as well. And I think the biggest thing that's wrong with the current education system as it is there's far too much power that's been handed to the students and the parents, to the point where teachers struggle to keep control of classes because there's only so much you can do. You have a kid who's misbehaving in a class and disrupting the lesson for everybody else who's in there, and you tell them to stop and they say no. And then, you know, you try and send them out of the room and they ring their mum there and then because they've got their phone out. Or you try and give them a detention and they don't turn up and their parents back them up and say, no, I don't think they've done anything wrong. Just stuff like that. When I was at school, teacher's word was final, and it meant that the kids respected the teacher. The kids got on with what they were supposed to do and everybody got to learn. And I think somewhere along the line, it's all got a little bit lost, and there's too much pupil power, too much parent power. And it needs to swing back the other way a little bit. I'm not suggesting for a second it goes back to the times when teachers were caning students and stuff, because I didn't live for any of that either. But I think I was at a sweet spot going to school in the 90s where kids were still afraid of teachers, but there wasn't really any reason to be afraid of them. Afraid is the wrong word. You respected them and you did what they asked. And I think everyone got on with their work better because of it, and everyone learnt more. Yes, it is Diet Coke with Kev this evening. I'm getting tested for epilepsy soon. Any tips to keep myself busy at a long doctor's appointment? I'm kind of scared. I don't know. I have no idea what the epilepsy test thing is like. If you're with the doctor the whole time, surely that's going to keep you busy, isn't it? Or if you've got long waiting times, then I guess read a book or something, whatever you do to keep yourself amused the rest of the time. How many detentions did I actually give out? Not many, because, and this is where a whole load of my students come in and say, no, that's not how it was at all. But I'd like to think that I was quite a collaborative teacher, where I didn't stand up and say, this is what you're going to do, and just do it and get on with it. I didn't bark out orders. I would be and it helped that I was teaching the older groups, because this kind of tactic doesn't really work with the younger students. But I would just say, look, ultimately, you want to pass your exams. If you don't need to be here, because most of my classes would be taught to students who'd chosen my subject. It was an optional subject. Everyone who was there had, in theory, chosen to be there. So I would open up with, look, you've all chosen to be here. If you don't actually want to do well in this subject, I suggest before we get started, you go and choose something else, because you're only going to do well in this if you actually put the effort in and you want to do well, and you've chosen to do it, so surely you want to do well. And if we all work together, I will help you get the grade that you deserve, but I'm not going to do the work for you. I'm not going to be totally on your case all the time. I'm just going to help guide you towards getting the results that you should be getting. And I didn't always follow all of the school rules. Like, there was a rule in the school about not wearing headphones while you work, and personally I thought that was a bit of a stupid rule, so I would let my students wear headphones on the condition that they got on with their work, and if they started to mess around, then they weren't allowed to use their headphones anymore. And just little things like that. And as long as people were getting the work done to the right standard, then they had a lot more freedom to chat while they worked, to wear headphones while they worked. And I know my subject, being computer science, was a little bit different, because it doesn't require constant silent concentration like something like maths would. But by working together with students and making it clear to them that I am there as a resource for them to help them get the grade that they want, I rarely got people mess around. So I didn't have to do a lot in the way of punishing people. I think I've answered like the next 5 questions all as part of that answer accidentally. Did I ever teach anyone with autism? Yeah, quite a few people. Did Andy cooperate really well at his paediatrician appointments? No, he doesn't really. He kind of doesn't get involved in them. I support Peterborough. I taught computer science, like I just said. And I think I've answered all the questions. Goodness me. Have I actually caught up with the chat for the first time ever on YouNow? Does that mean there's not been many questions, or have I just missed out a whole load of them? Let's scroll back up a little bit to see if I've missed out any questions. Oh, there you go. Another one's come in. What's my favourite food? Barbecue food or pizza? Jimmy's moaning about, what's wrong with you now, Jimmy? If you don't like YouNow, you obviously were never hanging around in some of the YouTube live streams that we used to do, because they were toxic. Apologies to those of you who are watching on YouNow, but on YouTube, sorry. But YouTube live streams, the chat just does get pretty toxic pretty quickly. Whereas on YouNow, everyone behaves really nicely. It's really cool. Which is a reminder, if you are watching on YouTube and you want to get involved in the chat, then you should head on over here onto YouNow, younow.com/Lelujo. The link is down in the description if you're watching on YouTube, because then I can see what you're chatting and we can get involved in all the chat and all that exciting stuff. If you could change your name, if I could change my name, what would it be? I don't know. Percival. I don't think I would change my name. Pineapple on pizza or not? No. Have I heard about Colleen Ballinger? No, I haven't. I don't know who Colleen Ballinger is. Although apparently she's having a baby. Don't know who she is. What's Andy's favourite food? Salt and vinegar crisps. Oh, we have got 2,000 likes. That's awesome. Pretty sure it doesn't work like that. What doesn't work like what? Please, can I have a... that's sad news. Sunny? Yeah, virtual hug. There you go. Has Andy? Yes, Andy has tried pizza. He's tried pizza a few times. Fathering Autism is here. Hello, Fathering Autism. How are you? Who won the F1? Jimmy. Do I look like I care about F1? Actually, I probably do. I'm wearing a baseball cap. No, I don't care about F1. What was my favourite language to teach? the language we kind of ended up always teaching was Python, but my preferred language is C#. Java's fine too. I don't really like Visual Basic either. I'm taking computer science with engineering next year. Do you have any advice to make computer science an easier subject? The best advice I always give about that, Mackenzie, is you've got to treat computer science like learning another language or learning a musical instrument. It's not a subject that you can just turn up to lectures or turn up to lessons and just be good at. It requires that daily practice that you need when you're learning an instrument or learning a language. And if you commit to it and treat it like that, then you just get good at programming fast. And getting good at programming is the key to computer science. If you can program, then you can do computer science and go out and learn all the monies, because computer science pays quite well, unless you decide to waste your degree in it and become a layabout YouTube monster. What's my favourite musical instrument? I'm not really very musical, Jimmy. Do I watch cricket? I have watched cricket. I don't really. I mean, it's a long game, isn't it? It goes on a bit. It's long. It's just too long. Premier. I don't follow a team in the Premier League. I'm all about the lower league football. I really like Python. I programmed it so I could have a conversation with it. That's awesome. See, stuff like that. If you're enjoying doing it, then you'll be well away. Why does Andy love trains and churches? Vitsy, if I knew that, then that would be helpful. I don't know where that sentence was going. I don't know. He just loves it. Trains, churches, trams. I think he just likes anything. I think he's going to be an engineer. He tells me that he wants to, or he told school he wants to be a cameraman when he grows up. But I think engineering has got to be his thing, because he loves roller coasters, he loves buildings, he loves anything with any kind of motion. So it just seems like he's got this untapped fascination with engineering that we need to help him. We need to help him tap into a little bit more. Asa, thank you for all of the thumbs ups that I'm seeing appearing. Very much appreciated. What dog treats does Dave like? We get all of his stuff. This is not a paid product placement, but we get all of his food from a company called Tails.com, who they're brilliant. We started using them when they were a startup like 4 years ago, and we basically had to fill in a questionnaire of how old he was, how much he weighed, all that kind of stuff, and they send a big bag of food each month and treats and stuff as well. So all of Dave's food comes from Tails.com, and I wish it was a paid product spot, but because they're still quite a relatively small new company. I did ask them and they said, we'd love to, we just haven't got any marketing budget for it. Just talk about us sometimes. So there you go, that's me talking about them, because I think they are great. And it means we never run out of dog food, which is awesome. Does Andy like the photo my uncle sent of Grimsby Minster to you on Twitter? He probably did. I do show him all these pictures that come through. I don't specifically remember Grimsby Minster, but I do show them all to him, and he goes, "Oh, church," is his normal response. So yeah, he likes all that stuff. Please send your local pictures of your local churches on Twitter. He loves all that. We might make it a little segment of the vlog or something, where if I get enough of them come through in one day, I can just sit down with him and say, right, here's 5 churches. Do you like them? Which one do we like the best? Which one should we go and visit? That would be awesome. What other hobbies do I have other than video games and football? I don't have very much time for hobbies these days. As anyone who's ever done this YouTube thing will tell you, it kind of becomes all consuming. This started as a hobby and very quickly became an obsession, which turned into a job, thankfully. But I mean, you can see behind me, just there's comic books around, there's video games around. But really, if you get much beyond comic books, video games, football, and I guess I would call filmmaking a comic still, even a hobby, even though I've never made anything that I could call a film with a straight face. I try. I spend a lot of my time reading about video and stuff and taking courses, and I'm not very good at it, but I really enjoy it. So I guess they're my hobbies these days. I used to be really into music, listening to it, not playing it. I don't have any musical talent, but just don't have time anymore. My Spotify daily mix is very much stuck about 5 or 6 years in the past, because I just don't have time to discover new music anymore. Who chose the name of the dog? Anna chose. You would think that calling a dog Dave would be my thing, but no, that was 100% Anna, and I just went with it. Jimmy's saying sitting there and talking. What is one of my hobbies? Yeah, that's one of my hobbies. Andy loves the red arrows, Ben. He absolutely loves the red arrows. How much do I have to donate to see you wax your legs live? Give me a number, Jimmy, and I'll tell you if it's enough. Why do you want to see me wax my legs live? I wouldn't be able to do it tonight because I don't have any wax and it's Sunday night. Where did we get to? Very much appreciate this being a safe place for everyone. Oh, Mackenzie, that's very cool. Would I ever get an editor? Probably not, Aidan, because I really enjoy the process myself. I can see a day in the future where I maybe get an editor for my gaming videos because there's not a huge amount of editing involved in them. I tend to just leave them fairly raw anyway. And a lot of the time with the gaming videos is sitting and waiting for them to render after I've slapped a jingle on and done a bit of green screen magic. The actual creative editing is also for the vlog. So I wouldn't ever get an editor for the vlog. I might one day get an editor for the gaming channel, but we're talking a long way in the future because I'm not earning anywhere near what I would need to be earning to be able to pay someone to edit it properly. If someone donated £100 for Anna to get gunged, would it happen? No, it wouldn't. I'm glad you think it would be funny, Jimmy. Pick a reason, anything will probably work. I'm confused now. I like seeing... Oh, you've given lots of reasons. I get you. Yeah, make me an offer, Jimmy, and we'll see. I'm not against the idea of having my legs waxed. Beth, that question, do I have autism? That's a question that... the official answer, I guess, has to be no. If you ask anyone I know, they will all say, you probably do a little bit, Kev. I did an autism test on the channel quite a while ago, back January, February time, and it came back and did put me on the spectrum, around about the Asperger's level. I don't know if it's something I particularly want to... want is the wrong word. I don't think it's something I necessarily need to explore further. I don't need that label. If I am on the spectrum, it's... I guess there would be positives around it because I could then position myself as a positive role model for all that kind of stuff, because certainly if I am on the spectrum, it's never held me back because my obsessive tendencies that I have allowed me to succeed at stuff that I ordinarily probably wouldn't have succeeded at. So that's all good stuff. Best opportunity I've had because of YouTube. The opportunity to speak at places, like speaking at the autism show last weekend, the stuff I did with Cambridge Wireless a little while back, the opportunity to just... I love public speaking. I'm a little bit of a monster. Most people hate it. I really enjoy it. I would love to... ideal situation, 2 or 3 years down the line, I'm earning the majority of my income as a speaker and the vlog goes back to just being a hobby. That obviously it would be nice to continue to draw an income from, but it does scare me relying on YouTube for my income. So I would love to become more of an authority to get to the point where I do get booked to do speaking gigs because it's something I really enjoy doing. Yeah. I'm distracted by Jimmy. Jimmy, what are you saying? Wait, can you clip on YouNow? I need to clip you agreeing to a 1k donation month to wax your legs live. What? So if there's a donation, if I get... Right, okay then, Jimmy. I'll agree to that. If I get £1,000 of donations on Twitch in July, this is a 1 month only offer. So for this month, for July, if I get to £1,000, which we haven't got anywhere near for months, if we get to £1,000 this month, then I'll wax my legs live, or I might get Anna to wax my legs because I don't know if I can bend down there and do it. Is she allowed to do it for me? That'll probably be funnier. Will I ever come to Scotland? Hopefully one day. Don't know when. Right, I need to continue with my drink. Will I ever come to Manchester? I've been to Manchester every year for the last few years. This will be the first year in a little while. First year in 6 or 7 years I've not been to Manchester. Unless a reason comes up. I would love a reason to come up. Jimmy, you'll have to round up a crowd then. Get a crowd of people. I don't expect you to do £1,000 on your own. Goodness me. I'm thinking you get a crowd together, like when you got me dressed up in a dress. After spending a night or two in a hotel with Andy, would you go away a bit further during the summer for a weekend? We talked about this on Friday. We're hoping we can get to Blackpool for a weekend, it's about 4 hours away from home, Blackpool, 3.5, 4 hours. And it's got everything Andy would enjoy. I think he'd really enjoy the tower. It's got the trams. It's got the amusement park ride stuff. It's got the lights. I think he'd really enjoy it. But it all loops back round to money again. At the moment, because of the nature of how YouTube income is up and down throughout the year, and with so much of my income being based on one video game, Football Manager, which is now 8 months old, so not many people are watching it anymore. Realistically, we're a little bit skint until about October time, so it might be something that waits until October, November time, which is fine. We don't need to go when it's hot and sunny, because we wouldn't spend all day, every day outside anyway. It doesn't really make any difference. As long as it's not pouring with rain, I think we'd get the same amount of enjoyment out of it then as we would now. So we'll probably wait until then. Did I get more money as a teacher or a YouTuber? A lot more as a teacher. A lot more as a teacher. Goodness me. I'm probably on about half the income I was this time last year. Which is fine. We still survive. I don't want this. Sometimes I worry about whenever we talk about money, it turns into, Kev's getting his violin out. He gets to sit at home playing video games all day and calling it a job, but he's a little bit poor. It's not like that. We are fine. We get by. Look at all the toys I've got. We're not skint, but we certainly earned a lot more when I was teaching. Worcester Cathedral has a pink giraffe or a stained glass window. Would Andy enjoy that? I'd enjoy a pink giraffe for sure. Andy likes stained glass. He probably would. Does he still like ATMs? Yes, he's been using an ATM today. Will we go to Northern Ireland? Maybe one day. Never say never. Same with Belgium. What's my opinion on Blackburn Rovers? I don't really have one. What do I think of Childline? I think it's an incredibly useful service that I've seen help a lot of people. Hopefully your YouTube income will surpass teaching soon. Hopefully, Rebecca. That's the long-term goal. I don't even know if it needs to be YouTube income, just self-employed income in general. I'm forever talking about writing this book, which I do maybe 2,000 words a month on at the moment, which is ridiculous. But finishing off the book would be good. And like I say, getting more into speaking would be a nice way to earn a little bit of extra income. How much donations for Anna to get gunged? I genuinely don't think she'd do it. I think you could offer her 10 grand, and I don't think she'd do it. I don't think she'd like to do it. Do you think people look down on me if I use Childline? Absolutely not. If you feel the need to use Childline, then you should use Childline. That's exactly what it's there for. And remember, you don't even have to tell anyone that you've done it. If you're afraid of what people will think, don't tell them that you did it. Can someone please explain gunged? Slime, I guess. Just like all over your head stuff. I'm going to Blackpool, Kev. I might take a few pictures for you. Oh, that would be very cool. Thank you. Yeah, there you go. As Harriet says, it's totally anonymous. Are you going to do more gaming series and Football Manager more often? Yeah, Tom. I planned to start that last week, but obviously it got derailed with everything that went on. But last week I was planning to start a train station simulator series, a This Grand Life series, and carry on with the Fallout 4 series that I started last weekend. So, yeah, it kind of all went a little bit wrong. Well, don't teach in America. The salary sucks. The lowest yearly salary is 30,000. The highest is probably 45,000. See, I'm not sure on the exact exchange rate between US and UK, but to convert that to pounds, and I was in that range. I was between 30 and 45, and YouTube is a lot less than that for me. So, yeah. Will you take Andy to more autism soft play events again? We might do, maybe, yeah. Yes, Aidan, I am going to be streaming tonight. In fact, I probably need to wrap things up here so that I can get set up for that stream, because I go live on Twitch at 8:45, which only leaves me 6 minutes to get ready. So, $2,000 from Twitch donation. Sherlock, I honestly don't know. How much to shave my head? I'm not shaving my head. That being said, if someone wants to give me 10 grand, I'll shave my head for 10 grand. Right, we are going to end things now, though. We're just about done with this can of Coke. I need to go and get set up over on Twitch. So it's twitch.tv/LalujoFM if you want to join me over there in about 5 minutes' time. or all the details are on my YouTube page or on all my social media. You better find me that way. But thank you to everybody who's joined in the chat here on YouNow this evening. I am going to be back here again tomorrow night at 8 p.m. So if you didn't get a chance to get your question answered tonight, make sure you come back tomorrow. And I will hopefully see you then. Toodle pip, everybody.